China hold constructive talks in Malaysia to pave way for Trump-Xi meeting. Top officials from the United States and China claim to have held very constructive talks on Saturday in Kuala Lumpur after the first day of negotiations. The two biggest economies of the world are trying to avert trade war escalation and ensure that a meeting happens next week between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations summit. Trump had threatened new 100% tariffs on Chinese goods and other trade curbs starting on November 1 after China announced massive export controls on rare earth magnets and minerals. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent met with China's Vice Premier He Lifeng at Merdeka 118, the world's second tallest building. China's top trade negotiator, Li Chenggong, is also participating in the talks. The officials will try to pave the way for Trump and Xi to meet next Thursday at an Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea, a high-stakes conversation that could revolve around some interim relief on tariffs, technology controls, and Chinese purchases of U.S. soybeans. "We have a lot to talk about with President Xi," says Trump. Minutes before the talks started, Trump left Washington for his tour of Asia and said farmers, hit by a Chinese freeze on U.S. soybean purchases, and the democratic island of Taiwan, which China claims as its own territory, would be on the list of topics for talks. Trump also flagged the release of jailed Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai, whose arrest is viewed as a high-profile example of China's crackdown on rights and freedoms in the Asian financial hub. "We have a lot to talk about with President Xi, and he has a lot to talk about with us. I think we'll have a good meeting," Trump said. Trump left Washington for a 5-day trip to Malaysia, Japan, and South Korea, his first to the region and longest journey abroad since taking office in January. He told reporters aboard Air Force One that he would also like China to help in Washington's dealings with Russia. The two major economies are trying to avoid a return of their tariff escalation to triple-digit levels on both sides. Bessent and Greer's first meeting with He in Geneva in May led to a 90-day truce, which brought down tariffs sharply to about 55% on the U.S. side and 30% on the Chinese side and restarted the flow of magnets. It was extended after subsequent talks in London and Stockholm and was due to expire on November 10. But the truce frayed by September end, when the U.S. Commerce Department expanded an export blacklist, banning U.S. exports to thousands more Chinese firms. On October 10, China hit back with new global rare earth export controls aiming to prevent their use in military systems. Bessent and Greer blasted China's move as a global supply chain power grab and vowed the U.S. and its allies would not accept the restrictions.